This channel is about helping people who suffer from colitis. Drop me a comment below about your colitis experience and go to my website High Carb Health for more info and a free 30-minute consultation. And don't forget, there most certainly is a life after colitis.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and it's testimonial time. I'm joined by Nesha from the UK. Welcome to the channel, Nesha.
Thank you.
Nesha's worked with us for 6 months now, haven't you? And
Yes.
been able to heal from ulcerative colitis. So
Yes.
we're going to talk about your journey, which is a very exciting one, obviously, because now you are healed and don't have to rely on medications anymore. But we're going to go through a few different topics, and the first one we want to discuss with you is just talking about your history with ulcerative colitis. So, you know, how you got diagnosed, you know, what the doctors told you, the different medications you tried, etc. You know, before you looked at other approaches.
Right. I was diagnosed in December 2017. Prior to that, I didn't know what colitis was. I just remember having lots of stomach aches, and nothing I ate settled with me. I mean, it didn't matter whether it was fruit or bread or, you know, soup. It just made me go to the bathroom so many times. I was still going to work, but I was avoiding eating things during the day because I didn't want to go to the toilet at work. It got to the point where I was starting to lose quite a lot of weight rapidly, and my hair was falling out, and that was a sign for me that something was really wrong. I went to my GP, and they decided to give me tablets for other things. Like they thought I had maybe I had other things that, like, I don't know, acid or something. I tried those for a little while and they didn't work. And then I went back to the GP and I said, can you do other tests to see what was wrong? So they referred me to a specialist, and they decided to do a colonoscopy based on my symptoms. And it was during the colonoscopy, they discovered that I had colitis. I still didn't know at that point what that was. I just knew that I was really ill, and I couldn't carry on that way. So that's when they first diagnosed me, and this was about 4 months after my symptoms started. That's when they started me on the medication. I was on Octasa for the first 3 months, and it was quite a high dosage. It settled me for a little while, but then they decided to lower the dosage but keep me on it. Funny thing is, I was on it for a year and I thought I'd healed because symptoms had gone. I was still eating all the things that I shouldn't be eating, thinking I was cured. And it was after a year that I had, as you call them, healing crisis. I call them flares. I had 5, one after another, in a span of 5 months.
Wow.
So they put me on other tablets. I was on steroids, high doses of steroids, 3 times. And with the steroids, I gained weight. My face became like a chipmunk. I had ulcers in my mouth, and they didn't quite do what they were supposed to do, but they kind of slowed the symptoms down a little bit. So my specialist at that time said, I don't think the steroids are working as well as they should, and your Octasa is working. So then they decided to put me on azathioprine, which was the deadly one. With that came an arm-long list of side effects, and I was afraid to take them. But he kept saying, no, they're good for you. It'll help you. You need to take them. I was on azathioprine for about 3 months, and my hair was coming out so much. And that was my turning point. And I thought, I can't take this anymore. And the sad thing is, I called the specialist quite a few times and left a message. I called my IB nurse a few times and left a message, but nobody called me back.
Right.
So I was like just left with these pills I just felt like I was like a number, and like I had to keep taking these pills. There was a time where I was taking about 18, 19 tablets a day.
Wow.
That was a combination of three different tablets,
Mm.
and still I didn't feel right. I had to take time off work. I was feeling really miserable. My hair was coming out. I was still ill, going to the bathroom so many times, and I was basically I was like on house arrest. I couldn't go
Mm.
anywhere,
Mm.
afraid to go anywhere because I didn't know where the toilets would be. I thought I'd have an
Mm-hmm.
accident wherever I went.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a very pleasant experience, a
Mm.
painful one and an embarrassing one as well. And that's how it all started, basically, 2017.
Yeah, and just so that people are more aware of what some of the symptoms are, what were you experiencing at the time in terms of number of bowel motions a day? Is there bleeding, mucus, and things like that? What was it like?
I didn't have too much blood. I did have blood, but not too
Mm.
much. Mucus was on and off, but I was going to the bathroom about 10, maybe 12 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter what I ate, even if it was sometimes water, I was
Mm.
constantly in the toilet, and
Mm.
it's painful. Like you get really bad cramps, and all you want to
Mm.
do is curl up in a ball and have a
Mm.
hot water ball because nothing seems to take that pain away.
Yeah.
And people have no idea how painful that is. You can't even describe it as just a cramp because cramp doesn't explain the pain that you
Mm.
feel. It's just
Yeah.
excruciating pain that doesn't go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And also explain to the audience what that feels like when you feel like you're prisoned to the toilet. What does that do to your psyche?
And mentally, it drains you. It really depresses you. You get really emotional. I mean, I remember crying quite a lot, not
Mm.
understanding why that's happening. I thought, what did I eat? What have I done? Why did this happen to me? And how come is all of a sudden it's gotten really bad? And I'm taking the pills. Why isn't anything working? It was you question everything because it just literally drains you and it really brings the mood down and it just puts you in a really, really sad, dark place because you don't know what to do. And
Mm.
you don't know who to turn to, you don't know what to do, how to make things better, and just makes you really grumpy as well because you want to eat, you can't. So
Yeah.
it was a good place.
So obviously the medical model wasn't working for you, and you felt like you didn't have any support from it either. So
Mhm.
what made you want to look at other approaches, and how did you start doing that?
I honestly didn't think there was anything else that could help me, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're so desperate to look for answers,
Mm.
and you're up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep, you're in pain, or you've been to the toilet like 20 times. I
Mm.
was just browsing through the internet, Googling what colitis was, what the symptoms could be, does it get better? Is there anybody out there who's cured themselves? It was all these things, and it was by chance that I stumbled upon Shamize's video about
Mm-hmm.
how he was diagnosed and when he was in Japan, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just like a light bulb just went off. And I thought,
Mm.
oh my God, this guy's just cured himself. And I was so interested in what he had to say. I
Mm-hmm.
watched that video so many times, making sure that I understood that he really did have what I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought if he can help himself, surely he can help me because he's going through the same thing. Well, he went through the same thing as I'm going through, and he
Mm.
said he stopped his medication. So there
Mm-hmm.
has to be another way. You cannot live on drugs because sooner or
Mm.
later the drugs will stop, and then it's going to be, oh, we need to remove your colon, and that's no way to live. There has to be
Yeah.
another way, and it was Shamize's video that actually did it for me. That made me want to reach out to you guys.
Yeah, and I remember you talking about the fact that you were watching the videos thinking, no, 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 that can't be right. Um,
Yeah.
is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that thinking, the doctor's saying one thing, how can this person on YouTube
Yeah.
be
Uh,
true?
in all honesty, you do question it because you think, well, these doctors have gone to medical school. They know what
Mm.
they're talking about. And if they say you need to take drugs, you need to take drugs. How can
Mm.
it be that this person who is not a doctor says
Mm-hmm.
he cured himself by eating bananas? So you think, seriously? Like, seriously? Is it that simple? So you do
Yeah.
question it. A big part of you wants to believe it. A big, big
Yes.
part of you, because you're so desperate to find a cure. But then at the same time, in all honesty, you still think, could this be a scam? Could this be real? Is somebody playing a joke? Is somebody just messing
Mm.
around? And you
Mm.
you do question it because you're not sure. You don't know what to believe. So I did. Those things did cross my mind, and that's me being brutally honest. They did cross
Mm.
my mind.
Yeah, and it's it would be silly to think that nobody thinks like that, because it is such a different way of thinking than what we're conditioned to think.
Mm,
But I think uh, as we'll find out later, just having a chat with us and really understanding what we're talking about makes a big difference.
right.
So, thank you for sharing that first part of your journey about, what you went through and, the thought process that made you want to contact us. And for anybody watching this video, stay tuned for the next section where Nesh is going to discuss working with high carb health and how she found that experience and what her body went through as she healed. But thanks for watching this initial part of the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as well as clicking on that bell notification if you want to get regular updates of videos from High Carb Health. And we'll see you very shortly for the next one.